Good morning, everyone. Good morning and welcome to our Career Success Show with Adrian and Yen. My name is Adrian, and of course,
Hi
every
everyone,
Friday
good
morning,
morning.
with me is Yen. How are you doing today, Yen?
I'm great because it's the end of the week.
This is the end of the week, and all of us are chilling out and waiting for our long weekend that's coming ahead. Right? Is it next week?
I
Chinese New
think
Year?
it's the week after. So this is the weekend to prepare
Oh,
and the final weekend to buy all the stuff that you need to buy. And then I think it's the following weekend. Yes, that's right.
okay. Which means I need to go out and collect get my ang pao money
Yeah,
and
yeah,
all the
yeah.
all the good goodies as well. I haven't
Yes,
done it
that's
yet.
right. You have a lot of errands to run.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long, busy weekend for me. But and that's interesting because when we go around town nowadays, we see a lot of those night markets and those festivities going on, and looks like the economy is back up and running again, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a good sign that things are up and running. I do want to highlight, though, that there's been such a large spate of accidents. I think people are kind of going out in droves. Everyone's a little bit stressy. This morning, as I sent my kids to school, I saw an accident. It
Oh
happened
no!
just before I came up to it, and the car was on its side, and there were people trying to like pull someone out, but I had to send my kids to school, so I was kind of glad. Um, Not to hang
Because
around, but I
nobody's
just want
injured,
people
right?
to be careful.
Okay,
I
just
don't
drive
know.
safe.
Yeah,
Oh
drive
well,
safe, be chill. It's the new year. Take
yeah.
things, just be calm. Yeah. Yeah.
Just
So
be
if
calm.
you are rushing off doing
I
things for
was
this
honked.
weekend, just
I was honked twice this morning as I was sending my girl to school. Impatient people just chill. Okay, so it's a Friday, just relax. But what's interesting for me is that a couple of weeks back, I was reminded as I was looking at those night markets in Pasar Malam, I was reminded of a case, how this real true life story of someone who was actually helping his wife out. He was a senior executive, and he was helping his wife out. For his wife had this stall selling stuff, New Year goodies at the Pasar Malam at those night stalls, and his boss came along, and his boss found out that he was helping, and the boss was
yeah,
not happy about it. And
yeah.
I think I spoke about it on radio before. I don't know what are your thoughts? And that's why it was so interesting that we were saying, hey, maybe today we'll talk about that. What are your thoughts? Would you if you were the boss, would you be upset if you saw your staff moonlighting selling satay or something in the store?
Yeah, I think it depends on the role and it depends on the optics. I think that's the big word of the day, optics. How do people perceive you if you were seen doing your side hustle? So there are so many situations where side hustles and moonlights work out and
Hmm.
perhaps even support each other because the things you learn from your side hustle actually makes you better and more effective in the workplace. Or in this
Hmm.
instance with your friend, well, the story, the protagonist in your story, he works in a bank, if I'm not wrong, or is some senior level financial executive who
Senior, yeah.
it has to be always seen well dressed, well put together, and not hawking, I don't know,
Flip flop.
some
Yeah.
item at the night market, right? Even if there's nothing wrong with it, and I think the majority of the people are going to go, oh yeah, that's fine. But I think if you were the client and this person is there helping you do investments in some like complex derivative trade, and you're there looking at this guy in his shorts and t-shirt going like, okay, right, cognitive dissonance. And
Cognitive
that could
dissonance. It
cause
just doesn't gel,
that
right?
could
It
cause some
doesn't gel.
problem, right? Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's my
I
thought.
can imagine.
What about you?
And then,
What did you tell
uh,
him?
well, I told him it's all about optics as well, but I know it's up to him. But that's why it's interesting but there was no direct conflict of interest. I mean, imagine if you were working for
Yeah,
like Impossible Meat and then you're selling satay on the weekends. Then that's a weird messaging to have, right? So I don't know.
yeah,
It's That's why we wanted to talk today about this, and it's a very critical topic because right now a lot of people are moving into side hustles. A lot of people are moving into side gigs and even consulting on the side, even as they are working their day jobs. So that's why today we wanted to talk about moonlighting, what it is, does it help, does it hurt, how do you do it right?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I've personally been moonlighting now, sort of portfolio careering since gosh, 19 years coming. So, but they've all kind of never really had any overlaps. So things have
Mm.
been carefully managed, and I'm happy to share some of my learning points from my experience this morning.
And but I want to correct a misconception because like what you said, you've been moonlighting. You haven't been moonlighting because moonlighting
I'm
actually
not
connotes.
moonlighting because I don't have a full-time
Yeah,
job. Yes, that's true.
correct, right? You need to have, if you have a full-time job and then you're on the side, then but
Yes.
you've been having a portfolio career which has been perfect and wonderful for you for the past 19 years, 20 years. I don't know, I've
Yeah.
lost track. But it's not really moonlighting. In fact, I would say it's a permanent series of gigs. That's why moonlighting is basically when you have a full-time job and you're committed to the full-time job, your company is paying you a full-time salary, but you have something going on in the background or on weekends or in the evenings. So
Yeah.
it's these are some of the words you call it: the side hustle, freelancing, consulting work. Even it's even if you drive for Grab,
Mm,
that's also moonlighting. Okay,
it
so
is. Yeah.
it is, right. It is. So then I was once remember 3 years back, 2 years, 3 years back before COVID, when we first started our business, we had a client all the way in Tuas. And at
Yeah.
the training sessions ended at 6. I went on Grab and I got a Grab car to pick me up. And the guy
Yes.
was basically he was an executive, a mid-level manager. Okay, and just on his way back home, he would just pick up a Grab order somewhere near his home, and he just drive
Yeah.
just to, and I to subsidize the petrol.
That
Is
makes
that
sense,
is that
right?
I mean, but is that considered
Is
moonlighting?
that
Yeah.
is that is that kosher? It is moonlighting, but he's being very clever about it. And frankly, well, first of all, thanks for pointing out the differences in how we manage and the different terminology in the words that we're going to use today when we talk about moonlighting or side hustle. So yes, you're right. Effectively, moonlighting means that if I've paid you for 100%, uh, I pay you for
Time, right?
a full time salary to do a job. That it doesn't mean that you don't shut down and then do your own projects on the side. And I think that's okay. But I can imagine why some employers might frown on it. So let's say this gentleman, back to our friend, the Grab driver who picks up passengers on his way home, and that's nothing wrong with that. But what if he picked up someone who was a sensitive client or
Yeah,
uh,
I know, right? It's so funny. Can you imagine?
competitor?
He's pitching his business to a major client, and after the meeting's over, he gets to his car and then he gets a ping. He goes
He
one
picks up a
circle around the
customer
car.
and
Just
it turns out
his
to be the
guy.
guy he just made his presentation to, right? That could be a little bit sensitive.
Yeah, I know.
So there's a
That's so
comment in
drama,
our
right?
chat. Someone says that the side hustle in different industries should be okay, but I think
Mm.
there's still some planning around it, some thinking, and some making sure that you don't accidentally, um, I don't know,
Yeah.
step on the wrong
No,
toes because yeah, you have to be really careful about that.
yeah. And so that's why moonlighting, we just want to get it out that and there are different formats. Some people do it in the evening, some people do it on the weekends, some people give tuition. Okay, and
Mm,
then the big question is this: now, what if I volunteer my time for the Meet the People session at MPs, or if I
mm.
do charity work? Is that moonlighting as well? I'm not being paid. No, is that considered moonlighting? Yeah,
It's volunteer work.
it's not moonlighting,
I
right?
think
So
I
is it?
don't think so. Yeah, it's not. That's not moonlight. That's networking. So, and I think it's a good thing. So to all our listeners out there, if you're thinking about what else you can do with your time, if you volunteer your
Yeah.
hours at different platforms, you'll find that it's really effective networking.
Yeah, and that's why we want to define our session today to talk about moonlighting in the terms of doing something. You have to be gainfully and fully employed by the company.
Mm,
If the company is just buying 2 days of your time, or just on a consulting gig on projects, then that's not moonlighting. That's your entitlement to get
that's
the
right.
job money elsewhere, right? So number one, you
Yes.
got a full time job. but this is something alongside it. Second thing is you should be paid for that job. That's moonlighting. If you're otherwise it's volunteering, that's another
Yes.
topic altogether already. Okay, and I like one of our comments on on our page as well says that sometimes moonlighting can be synergistic with your format, with your job format, with a formal job. Like teaching in a local university. Yeah, it can actually augment your standing in the industry as well. So
Yes.
I agree with Eugene. That makes absolute sense. So uh, yeah, but okay, let's talk about why is it legal? Is it ethical? Okay, what do you think, Ian?
Oh, well, I think it's very
In this aspect?
sensitive in certain industries, especially in Singapore. I can't speak for other markets because we know that there are markets where people hold down two jobs, so they would work 8 hours in job A, and then after they've clocked out, they move on to job
Mm,
B for another 6 hours, and that seems to be okay in certain markets, but. I've seen cases where employers really frown upon individuals who um, take on outside work despite
yeah,
being fully employed. So yes, if it's we try not to make it clearly spelled out in the employment contract, isn't it?
yeah.
But it's very clear cut sometimes if there might be a
But
term
actually, it is no.
condition that says you're not allowed to.
Some many employment contracts actually very clearly stipulate that you cannot take any employment outside.
No, not all. Some employment contracts are
Not
quite
all.
simple. Yeah,
Okay lah.
yeah. So if there
But
is
if it is
if there's a
directly,
clause,
yeah, if it is a clause, then if they'll get caught
yeah,
out, they have
yeah,
cause for
and cause
termination,
for
lah, right?
termination. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's especially and also is there a conflict of interest? And in terms of whoops, sorry, yeah, in terms of conflict of interest as well, no, is it legal? Is it ethical? Legal wise, there's nothing. It's not against the law to do moonlight, okay? Unless you're a civil servant, because there was a case of a MINDEF army person who wasn't even moonlighting per se. He was grab hitching a ride back home from his office, just like the other guy I was talking about. And he was reported and he was punished for it actually. So when
Oh
you have,
gosh.
yeah, he was punished for it because that's considered a moonlighting, even though he says, I'm just subsidizing my petrol going back. So that one is clear cut employment contract. Don't mess with it, right? But sometimes there's a conflict of interest, and there are lots of
Yeah.
examples out there. Where you are, for instance, in a petrochemical business, and then you have an investment, even not even a full time job, but investment in another company. Okay, you might be a sleeping partner. Okay, but sleeping partner, but active on the side with a contract that no, your company is just given out to the other. So it sometimes there is a conflict of interest, isn't
Mm.
it?
Yeah, yeah. Those are very complex, and we know a lot of people who do that, right? Because they know that if they can set up an agency on the side and then they can feed contracts and deals through the agency that they kind of co-own or semi-run, that would be a massive conflict of interest. But yes,
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, when in doubt, have a conversation with your HR. So a lot of our clients have this situation because they're already running something for themselves, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and they are then contacted for a new employment opportunity. And then they go through several rounds of interview and they receive an offer.
Yeah.
Then the question is, what do I do with my business? Because I ran it first. Hello, it's not like
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
the job and then start the side gig, right? I already have this gig ongoing. What do I
Mm-hmm.
do? Yeah. So as Adrian suggested, obviously, yes, go back to HR, talk to the employer, and then I guess you have to make a decision on how to, maybe downshift your business a little bit or
Mm.
sell it off or dormant it for a while, if there's such a word,
Yeah.
and proceed. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, that's a typical conundrum I hear
Yeah.
of.
And I would agree with Yen. If you want to be whiter than white, just declare it. And if they get even volunteering gigs that you do, I would actually declare as
Mm,
well. So just to
yes.
be upfront and transparent, that
Yeah,
so
especially if you sit
uh,
on the board.
yeah.
If you're on the board
Oh,
of
yeah,
any
exactly.
charity or if you're on the board of
Mm,
any other organization, yes, that's worth declaring just to make sure that everyone is on the same page. Yeah.
Correct. And I believe that this is something you don't want to get too tangled in, because if HR finds out and it gets messy. So that's why the next thing is there are upsides and
Wait,
there are
what is the
downsides.
point about income tax? Adrian, in the
Oh yeah,
previous slide, you
sorry.
had some point on income
Yeah,
tax.
sorry. Yeah, and then sometimes people don't declare the income, declare that side income as income tax, and then if they get caught out, or
Right?
that the legality of it is ultimately it should feed into your income. They should declare it as
Yeah.
well. Some people don't
Please make
declare
sure
their
you
side.
declare.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, even
and
if it's small, you should.
yeah, you should, because one day you never know. You might get audited and go like, oh, you mean so it's tricky. And the whole idea we always recommend is be whiter than white. Okay, be transparent, be whiter than white, declare everything that you do. I mean, but if it's like just $50 here for whatever small little things that you do, then I don't know if you need to declare that. I don't know. I'm not a tax guy, so but I declare everything, so I don't want to go to
Yeah.
jail.
Dividends, I don't know, rental income, that's all income. So yes, please declare those. I think
Yeah, please declare.
there's a separate page for trade income. So you
Yeah.
have, I think the first page, you declare your regular full employment earnings, and then there's a
Mhm.
separate page. But I'm not an expert, so please go seek proper advice.
Agreed. So what are the upsides to it, Yen? Just some ideas over here. Well, number one, definitely extra income. That always helps, right?
Always. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And no matter how big or small, extra income is always welcome.
Yeah,
Because
and
hey, one afternoon of work, and you can suddenly afford, I guess, a new instant pot. Why not?
and
By
it
the way,
doesn't.
to our listeners, it's just that was an inside joke because I have a new instant pot and I'm very happy with it.
You are advertise. You're the new spokesperson for Instapot. So anyway, no, but
Yeah.
that's funny, you see, because a lot of people we know, okay, for our listeners out there, a lot of people we know, they are not doing their side gig or side hustle for the money.
Mm.
A lot of people we know are just doing it because it's fun, it's an idea. They want to keep engaged, they're bored with their job for whatever reasons. But a lot of times it doesn't start for the money per se.
Yeah,
So
it has to come from a deep level of interest. If you don't like it, why are you doing it, right?
yeah,
So, or it's something that you're good at, and you realize that, hey, this is not bad. I can optimize this very unique skill. Like you're a math wizard, and you go to work in a bank, but in the evenings you're giving tuition, like you said, to students, and that's not a bad thing. It helps keep your mind sharp, and
yeah, keeps you
then you
engaged,
don't
right?
end up wasting time playing games on the computer. Just saying.
Well, I'm glad I'm not one of those. I waste time on Netflix. So, but it keeps you engaged. And one of the best upsides to it, besides the extra income and getting the stimulation, is that it oftentimes feeds into or lets you try out something that could be your plan B
Yes,
for retirement.
that's right.
And
Yeah,
that's what you've
I
always
call it
been
as
espousing, right?
yeah, I call it incubating ideas because sometimes it sounds like fun until you jump into it and you realize, holy cow, I did not expect all this because the
Actually,
learning
you're
curve is
right.
very steep. And
Actually, you're right.
so and it's not experiment
Yeah,
anymore. I call it
yeah,
incubation because you want
yeah.
to try it for size before you
Hmm.
buy the outfit, right?
Yeah,
So give it time to mature, give it time to learn the ropes, to
yeah.
build the networks, to establish an infrastructure. I don't know. There's a lot. I mean, there are so many ways that you can start
So
something on the side. Yeah.
I remember there was this lady, she wanted to quit her job to start up a bakery because her friends told her, hey, your cake's very nice. Okay, so she wanted to do it. So she did it, started doing it on weekends and as a side gig because she didn't quit a job first. And after a couple of weeks, she realized that it's a lot of work to scale up. And she decided that, nah, I'll
Yeah.
just keep it so she didn't quit a job. She just did it just for the
So
fun of it.
like a cottage industry, right? Something that happens on weekends or for special
Yeah,
seasons.
yeah.
But she's not likely to invest in an industrial kitchen
More
or set
importantly,
up
she
an
didn't quit her
invoicing
job.
system. Yeah,
Yeah, because
but it
imagine if she
fits
quit her
into
job.
her.
And jump straight in.
it feeds into her passion. She can continue to bake and not put on weight because the cakes get sold.
You got
It's
100
okay.
people. I know I'm talking to a baker here, so yes,
Yeah,
I think you relate to that story very
yeah.
much. So for those of you who
And there's
just
still
joined us,
there's still the licensing. Uh,
yeah, lots of stuff.
yeah, there's a
So
lot of other things. Yeah,
for those of you who just joined us, my name is Adrian. I'm the CEO founder of Career Agility International, and Yen, who's our super coach and executive director and co-founder. Today we are here. We are talking about side gigs, side hustles, moonlighting. Yes or no, and how do we do it? So these are the upsides when we talk about doing a side gig. We also need to consider the downsides. Downsides is getting caught. Okay, there's a lot of explanation to do. What do you think? The first thing is getting caught. How do you explain it
yeah.
to your
That's
HR?
tough. I mean, yeah, well, what's the worst that can happen? So you leave your job. You can resign from your main job so that you don't have to go into a legal tussle, or you
Hmm.
get fired. That's fine. I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, there are some people get involved in much worse legalities, and they can get sued and all that.
Yeah.
So uh, yeah, it depends on the scale, right? But if it's a tiny little side hustle where
Yeah, I mean,
you
if
work
you're
as a
cooking, if
with
you're baking pineapple
friends,
tarts over Chinese New Year to
it's
sell to
yeah,
your friends, you're not
yeah.
going to get sacked
But for
for it.
God's sake, don't sell it to your colleagues, right? I mean, there are people who do that. They push MLM to their colleagues at the office,
Oh,
right? They sell
whoa.
vitamins, Tupperware, which is very
Oh,
common
that's
back in the day. It still
that's
happens, by the way, or cosmetics.
mm,
And if you do it in the office and it interferes, and that's, I guess, it segues into our second point here, distraction. If hello, we're here to meet our KPIs and
yeah.
deliver on our projects, not buy your mooncakes or pineapple tarts or
Mm,
Tupperware. So I think there's some discretion that's going to be really important.
yeah, and do it. It's not just the getting caught thing also. I mean, do it tastefully. I mean, it's like you're selling like MLM to your colleagues. It's like so inappropriate, isn't it? It's like, hey,
It is.
but
Yeah.
but it is tough if you get caught. A lot of explaining to do. That's why I say, always declare up front. This and sometimes you get so distracted by your side gig, side hustle. You can't focus on your work, and then you perform
Yeah.
badly on your job. And that is the
That's it.
ultimate reason why your boss will take the opportunity to say, see, you're fired.
Yeah. Or,
And
or put
then,
you on some improvement plan, which is
mm,
embarrassing.
yeah,
And cause all sorts of upheaval on your main career, the one that is your main cash flow. So yeah,
yes,
priorities. Please make sure that
all
you
right,
look after your golden goose,
yeah,
and then if there are other little things that you can harvest along the way,
yeah.
go ahead. But just be careful, because the golden goose is the one that gives you your main
Yeah, that's
income,
that's
right?
where your main source of revenue is, right? So rather than this tiny little thing,
Exactly.
it's not worth risking it. And there's also burnout.
It's not a
Even
hill
if you
you
do
want to
your
die on.
yeah, correct. So sometimes when you want to do your job well, and then you want to do that gig well, and you're burning both
Mm,
ends of the candle,
yeah,
you might get burnout, physical
it
burnout,
happens.
mental burnout. It has happened before. You see, when you buy a phone, you can chew.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen
I
it
think
happen
uh, I
before.
think I think a lot of people don't realize the importance of mind space. And I think that's what employers are looking for. Look, if I give you a full-time job and I pay
Hmm.
you a lot of money, even if you're not really at work, I need you
Hmm.
rested so that by the time you come back, you're ready to perform,
Yeah,
or that
can
you
you
have
imagine,
mind
right?
space, so
Yeah,
that as your mind space is important to help you perhaps strategize the following week, or think about what to do with a specific customer that you're trying to
mhm.
sell or pitch to, things like that. And those are the things that people kind of say, no, no, it's time based. If I clock out, I clock out. And then, but that's not how it works when
That's
you
not how it
work in
works.
a
Not
corporate
how it works.
corporate environment.
Yeah.
So if I give you a full salary, it's because I need you to be
Mm.
focused. And so
Yeah,
if you're
it's
going to be
it
distracted,
give
too
and yet
tired,
to give an analogy, yeah. I have this neighbor, okay, and his helper, his domestic helper, they get off on Sundays, and
Right.
she goes out and she moonlights. She cleans other people's houses, okay, for a
Which we
fee,
hear a lot of.
which
Right.
is technically illegal. Okay,
Yes.
he says I don't mind closing one eye, okay, but then she comes back in the evening and the Monday tired, exhausted,
Yes.
and she said, yeah, you yes, okay, that Sunday is yours, okay, but you come back. I'm paying for the rest of the week, and you're exhausted and you're tired. So likewise, the analogy, you can understand why your bosses might be upset with you if you even
I
say
don't
that no,
know.
I'm doing. I know. So you got to be mindful, you got to be careful. But
I'm
then
just thinking
you know,
about your analogy, Adrian. I'm thinking about your analogy. I've got to jump in here
analogy is
because
bad.
uh, it's a bad one because first of all
A
it's
bad one.
illegal,
It's
but
illegal.
but
Period. No,
also
you go to
but
jail
also
for that. So
given the story that you're telling, I mean her job is physical. If she goes out on Sundays and she decides to work out, she'll come back tired as well.
if she
So
works out,
if she
that's
decides
interesting as well. There was
to
this
work
case of
out, go to the gym.
yeah. Hey, but gym makes you healthier and stronger. So yes. But
So
anyway,
that's how.
uh,
Okay, we
yeah,
digress.
earlier on we were talking about taxation purposes. Okay, so if you want a real tax expert, talk to Saifan. Okay, Saifan's actually, she's one of the she if you have any legal requirements or tax questions, just reach out to her. This is her contact. She's an old friend of ours, and she has always been there to give the support. Okay, so that's a free plug for Saifan, and yeah, you'll go reach out to her. But the big question then is this: how then do you do it right? And that's $1 million question. And a lot of our clients ask us that question as well.
Yeah.
What Yan and I always
This
say is that you should have a side gig. Period. But how do you do it right?
yeah. Yeah, I think it requires a lot more planning, and there are so many situational questions, so it's very contextual. So please reach out to us if you want to ask our opinion on whether or not A plus B equals okay, or whether you should consider some other version of your side hustle or something else.
Mm,
You definitely need to think about this because, and this is something I've mentioned frequently, our career is not our life. And at some point, that career journey, the corporate one, will end. And the side hustle is something that you can possibly do for the rest of your life. It's got to be that purpose so that you have something that you can downshift to. And that's my favorite topic ever, which is to how do I
shifting.
retire well, right?
Yeah.
Just downshift, and then you can have your time, you can have your autonomy, you can control how and when you work. And I think that's always going to be the best way when you're not hostaged by some unknown corporate agenda, which is not fun. We get so burnt out and annoyed when someone from upstairs says, well, we are going to do this, and then we feel like, oh, okay, great. Like I'm on a
Sure.
chain gang or something.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
side hustle gives you something that's
Yeah.
yours, and something that you can do for the rest of your life. So have a think about that because I think it's an important one.
Yeah.
Because
So
we're going to
for
live very
many
long
reasons.
lives, aren't we?
Yeah, that's true. And for many reasons, we actually encourage you to consider having side hustles. But when you do that, be whiter than white, you have to be strategic about it. Okay. I know this individual who decided that, hey, actually, the property market's pretty hot right now. I want to go and do property sales on the
Mm,
weekends. And
mm.
can you imagine the awkwardness if suddenly you meet the client and it's your boss or something like that who's looking for that Sentosa
Or
Cove
your
bungalow,
customer or your
or your
business
customer?
partner.
It's a bit hard to
Yeah,
explain.
yeah. And also
And
to continue on that story, right? For real estate salespeople, the job is not just on weekends. Your job is not just showing homes or property on weekends. It
mhm.
is about making appointments in the middle of the week.
Yeah,
It
all the
distracts from your main job. That's a job that can suck you in because it's a sales job and there's no night or
yeah,
day when it
yeah.
comes to sales.
And burnout is real because I know some folks in the real estate sales business, they're doing very well, but they're burning out as well. So
But I think real
it's a
estate should be a main job. If you decide to
I think
focus
so
on
as
real
well.
estate, go in
Yeah.
full time. I think, but that's my opinion.
But I would say get your certs and everything, your licenses, everything in place first. Then maybe you just try a little bit, follow around. But I don't know. It is one of those all or nothing type of roles. If you do it on the
It
side,
is, isn't
and it's
it?
It's one of the big challenges, no, Yan. You want to have your day job, you want to have the side gig, and sometimes, no, you end up being good at neither because you're
Yes.
spreading yourself too thin, right, on both ends. And
Yeah.
then what happens? See, so
Yeah.
there's an old saying,
Yeah.
a, a man, a person who tries to chase two cats will catch neither. So why
That's a
were you
good one
chasing cat
because
after all? Why you?
you cannot herd cats.
Yeah, no, you chase this cat, you chase the other cat, you chase no cat, you catch no cat.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. So there are
that's
some
something.
roles, there are some jobs that you cannot do on the
Mm,
side. It's all or nothing. Absolutely. Yeah.
mm. I think in a nutshell, what we are saying is this: we actually would recommend you to consider having a side hustle, side gig on a small scale. Okay, something that won't affect your job, your day job, your real job. Something that's no conflict of interest. But these things need to be thought through. Okay, come talk to
Yes.
us because we are the experts in this space. So we can give you our 2 cents worth, yay or nay. And if you have any career questions, come talk to us because ultimately, what we do is we do help our clients who have career questions, and especially for those clients who want to accelerate their career. We have our March intake coming in now. We have this career mastery program, which we strongly recommend, and it's getting it's very popular. We talk about how do you get your career to the next level, and it's really exciting. So what we recommend is come talk to us, email us at info@careeragility.org, and find out how the hundreds of other clients of ours have succeeded in their careers just by being part of the community, learning all the new career skills that will get them promoted and making a big impact into their long-term career goals. So
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I just want to add, the major point about this program is that
mhm,
uh, people tend to forget. They plan for the wedding, but they forget about the marriage. So a lot of people are
mm,
thinking, yeah, I just need to land a job, I'll be fine. I just need to get my job search, I gotta get a resume done. But it's not about that because your career is a long journey. So a lot of the content that we cover in this program is about how to manage the political dynamics, how to
yes.
how to perhaps scale up when it comes to things like your presentation or your executive presence in little blind
Mhm,
spots like this, which is not
mhm,
something you can sometimes pick up overnight. So it's
yeah.
easier said than done. So I just want to highlight that this is a unique program and one of its kind, the only one of its kind in the market.
Yeah, that's right.
That's my
So
point.
if lovely, and if you want to think about progressing your career in 2023, come talk to us, info@careeragility.org. Always happy to help and share our 2 cents with you. And well, that comes to the end of the show. Our weekend is here. If you have any ideas or any career questions that you want us to talk about in subsequent episodes, we are happy to hear from you. Drop us an email at info@careeragility.org.
Great.
And
Happy
it's
weekend.
yeah, the weekend is here. I'm so
Let's
excited.
shut down already.
Let's shut down. No, I've got like four sessions today. Lots of clients are coming to us now. Interesting, yeah. Do you realize that a lot of our new clients coming in are all referrals from our existing clients, and it's
That's nice. I mean, it
testimony.
doesn't matter where they come from, frankly.
It's amazing because it's a testimony for the good work we're doing for our clients. So we're getting lots of referrals, and even running this show on every Friday, even though it takes its toll on us, but we love doing it because it's public education, and that's why we want
Yeah.
to educate and help everybody with their careers.
CSR. Yeah.
In fact, we're gonna do a lot more this coming year, 2023, and you hear a lot more from us. And we want, and it's going like, really, I don't want the publicity, no. But it is CSR, so you want to help people achieve better and happier careers and a more sustainable career. So,
Great.
have a
Is
good
it
weekend,
happy weekend already?
everybody. Yeah, have a happy weekend, and stay in touch. Have a great one, guys. Bye.